Hey, for Monday, July 6th, 2020. Come on, come on, come on, come on. No, I don't want to update. Just a moment, folks. Hey, there it goes. It is the Pro and Con Show, and I'm your host, Michael James Ott. Welcome to the show. So, yeah, the point of the show is try to get us to be more proactive in our governance and to think these major issues through, and to do a better job about being aware of what's going on. And so one of the things that I encourage people to do, of course, is to look at the issues and try to understand where other people are coming from, and literally ask them the question, tell me about the path in your life that got you to where you are. And then I would ask you would allow me to tell you the same. And then once we've exchanged that information, you're going to find out that both parties are going to learn a lot more, and you're going to get a lot more in the way of empathy and common ground, actually, common understanding of the facts that you didn't have before. And that will lead to better, governance of this thing that we call the United States of America. Anyway, so I encourage, you look at the pros and the cons, the good and the bad, the for and against, hence the Pro and Con Show. So today's show, I have in the past looked at 5 different websites. They vary in their political leaning, if you will, from left to right. So Huffington Post, CNN, NPR, Fox News, and Breitbart. And I thought it would be interesting to just take a snapshot in time and look at the top stories from some of these information streams. And again, I'm careful not to use the word news, because there's a tremendous amount of bias and opinion in this, and screening of the information that they provide. So if you always just read Huffington Post, for example, you are doing yourself a huge disfavor, because you are only absorbing stuff. And admittedly, okay, maybe it mostly aligns with your general beliefs and leanings, but that's not how the world works. The world does not align with you. Okay? The world is messy. Pro and con, good and bad, for and against. And you've got to take it in to do a good job understanding how we want to move forward. So this article, I'll show you the thing here from the Huffington Post. According to a veterans group, wow, that shouldn't have been that hard to say. According to a veterans group, Donald Trump is now America's #1 traitor, having replaced Benedict Arnold. Now, interesting. So a veterans group. Now, there isn't just one veterans group. There are multiple veterans groups, and they have a tendency to kind of gather together. Kind of like-minded people get together, and they form a group where it's more like a tribe or that kind of thing. So they're like-minded, so they enjoy talking to each other because they are similar in mind. But the problem with that is, again, this becomes one-sided, and you lose your perspective on the fact that the world is more complex than how you're viewing it. So this quote came from a group of veterans, and it's kind of later in the article that eventually you find out that this is more of a progressive organization of veterans than conservative. And so what is the name of this? It's called VoteVets. And I looked up their website. So they're at votevets.org. and their tagline is Country Service Action. And here, and I haven't validated that any of this is true, but seems like it's plausible, but okay, again, take everything with a grain of salt here. According to them, their statistics are they have over 700,000 supporters in all 50 states. They have captains that are organizing because they're trying to influence the political process in all 50 states. They claim that they've made 50 million contacts with voters since 2006, so that's 14 years, and they've spent about $5 million making contact with those voters. And they've raised 120 million, and they've spent it since the inception. And they've run a bunch of ads and stuff like that. Aired $50 million in television ads. One of those ads being, and I don't know where it was aired in the country, but basically talking about Donald Trump being a traitor. And where does that come from? Well, the news came out that the Russians had been offering bounties to the Pakistani people for American lives, basically. So if they manage to maim or kill an American over there in Afghanistan, then they were, given a monetary reward by the Russians. And so there's a lot of upset here, that especially because Mr. Trump didn't really react very strongly to that. In fact, I don't recall him saying anything about it to this day, even though that information has been out and he's been asked about it multiple times over the last couple of weeks. That's of course a very bad thing, and something that we should be upset about. But in fairness, in truth, in the so-called statecraft, various countries that have these they have these competitive approaches to each other. They're not cooperative, and certainly Russia and America, China, there's this maneuvering. And during the Cold War, it was famous. I mean, we had all kinds of things. That's all these little wars like Vietnam and South Korea, and you come up with a long list of different regimes that were attempted to be changed and stuff like that. All kinds of interference, and our government did this too. I'm sure, at various points offered bounties. This is the kinds of stuff that should not be allowed, and so the Russians, we should be upset at the Russians for doing this kind of thing. We should confirm that it's true, although it seems like it is confirmed. But we should also, be introspective of our own past things where we've done these things of similar in nature. We just, what happens is people get in these leadership positions in these countries, and then they think that they are somehow puppet masters, and it's okay to try to manipulate things in these other areas, and in these clandestine, black operation, hidden stuff. And that's wrong. It's just wrong. And the Russians shouldn't be doing it. We shouldn't be doing it. And really, we should all be working with the United Nations a lot more. We should try to embrace and embolden and enforce the whole premise of the United Nations in dealing with each other and resolving conflict, instead of this, so-called statecraft, the hidden black ops kinds of stuff that happens around the world all the time. So anyway, now you know a little bit more. If you're a typical American, you probably didn't look into this very much. So now you know a little bit more, okay? VoteVets was the name of the organization that called Donald Trump a traitor, said he was worse than Benedict Arnold. And now you know and are thinking a little bit more about what the Russians are presumed to have done compares to general statecraft that's been going on for decades and centuries. All right, step by step, we should all of us have this vision of trying to be better people. Okay, trying incrementally. Okay, steps. Here we go. Steps. More open, more honest, more observant, more accepting that there could be opposing views. All right, so for the Pro and Con Show, my name is Michael James Ott, and thanks for watching. Until the next show, bye for now.